I was accused of a crime I didn't commit. Staying quiet is what saved me. Chapter 2.
Criminal court is quieter than people expect. No speeches, no drama, just questions that don't stop until someone slips. The accuser testified first. At a surface level, her story held together. But under cross-examination, it started to bend. Dates shifted slightly. Details lost their certainty. Nothing explosive, just enough to make the room feel uneasy. Then my attorney introduced financial records, small transfers, spread out, months before the accusation. The accuser said she didn't remember them. Then she said they were loans. Then she said they were unrelated. When asked who sent the money, she hesitated. Long enough for the judge to notice. She gave a name. Someone who wasn't me. That's when my wife was called as a witness. She walked to the stand calmly, almost bored. Like this was procedural, not personal. She answered the first questions easily. How long we'd been married, my role at the company, our children. Then the questions narrowed. Had she ever spoken to the accuser before the allegation? Yes, briefly. Had she ever sent money, directly or indirectly? No. My attorney didn't argue. He just showed timelines, messages recovered from backups, conversations about forcing a decision, about custody, about what would happen if I was no longer safe to keep the kids. That's when her tone changed. She stopped answering directly, started explaining instead, talking faster, filling silence that didn't need filling. She said the case had dragged on too long, that everyone was suffering, that something needed to happen already. The judge asked her to slow down. She didn't. She tried to justify things that hadn't been alleged yet, tried to reframe messages that hadn't been explained. She looked at me once, not angry, not sad, just desperate. The courtroom didn't react. They didn't need to. By the time she stepped down, the accusation was no longer the only thing on trial. The court now had a second question to answer. Who stood to gain if my life collapsed? After my wife stepped down from the stand, the courtroom didn't feel tense anymore. It felt settled. The judge recessed briefly. When he returned, he didn't summarize the drama. He summarized facts. He spoke about timelines that didn't align. Financial records that predated the accusation. Communications that demonstrated intent rather than reaction. Then he addressed the charge itself. The accusation against me had been presented as an isolated act. What the court now saw was coordination, preparation before the allegation, pressure during the investigation, and motive tied directly to custody and financial control. The judge ruled that the prosecution had failed to meet its burden. Not guilty. There was no reaction from me. I had prepared myself for patience, not relief. Then the judge continued. He stated that while the case against me was resolved, evidence presented during the trial supported separate findings. The accuser had knowingly made a false statement under oath. The communications and financial trail demonstrated conspiracy and obstruction of justice. Charges were amended. The accuser was found guilty of